McQuestion, talking about things that matter with people who care. Production of McQuestion is made possible in part by individual viewers, supporters of the Foundation for Responsible Television, Collin County Business Press, locally relevant, personally profitable, Sundown Ranch, one sundown at a time. CF & Company, LLP, a certified public accounting and consulting firm serving Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Southwest since 1956. The Meadows Foundation, serving the people of Dallas. And by the Dallas Business Journal, connecting you to your next opportunity. Who do you want to meet today? Go to dallasbusinessjournal.com.
Dan Yergin, author of The Prize and this new book called The Quest, maintains that net petroleum imports into America have declined from 60% in 2005 to 46% today. Further, the development of new ways of producing oil and gas through technology are huge factors in today's energy security for America. The availability and price of energy affect your life every day, so you'll get to see a part of the interview I did with Dan Yergin later in the program. For now, let's meet our experts here in the studio, beginning with Ed Blessing on my left. Ed is the managing director of Blessing Petroleum Group and an independent director for NGP Capital Resources Company. He's a developer of energy projects from Switzerland to Azerbaijan and across North America. Ed's an active member of various petroleum and civic groups and is a leadership fellow with the National Association of Corporate Directors. Ed, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Dennis.
We were talking about peak oil when you were on before. Fortunately, we haven't gotten there yet, have we?
No, and it seems to keep moving away from us.
That's a good thing.
Thank heaven.
That's a very good thing. Thank you. Laura Miller is sitting next to you. She's an award-winning investigative reporter and journalist, a former mayor of Dallas, but she's here today as the Director of Projects Texas for the Seattle-based Summit Power Group. Laura, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dennis.
I never thought I'd see you sitting on the dark side with big business here.
Well, you know, things happen.
Well, with your help, they may continue to happen. Glad you're joining us. Thank you. And finally, from Houston, Chuck Davidson is a chemical engineer with a master's from the University of Texas at Dallas and almost 40 years of energy industry experience. Today, he's chairman and CEO of Noble Energy, a global energy company based in Houston. Chuck, welcome to the program.
It's great to be here, Dennis. Thank you.
Tell us the scope of what Noble Energy does.
Noble Energy is an independent exploration and production company. Independent meaning that we don't do refining or marketing. We are purely upstream. We look for oil and natural gas, develop it, and produce it. So that's our focus. We're based, our operations are both here in the United States as well as outside the United States internationally. We have 5 focus areas that we work on. Here in the U.S., in the Rocky Mountains, where we're involved in an unconventional oil development play, in the Marcellus Shale, which I'm sure you may have talked with
People
Dan
have heard
Yergin.
of the Marcellus Shale, Chuck, but they don't know where it is or who Marcellus is. Tell us about that.
Well, we'll get into that, but in the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania, which is an unconventional natural gas play that is really blossoming and providing some new energy supplies for our country. Deepwater Gulf of Mexico, and then outside the U.S., we're in West Africa and Equatorial Guinea, where we just started up a new oil project. And then in a very unusual place, we have discovered very large amounts of natural gas offshore Israel. First company to find significant energy in Israel, and is hopefully moving that country towards greater energy security very rapidly.
Well, that's a great story. Now, thank you for that, Chuck. Laura, you've got another story for us. So that person who still thinks of you as the mayor of Dallas or out running around and all of your investigative journal reporting, tell us what you've been up to and what the Summit Group is and what this project is you're working on.
Well, in my last year as mayor, I fought dirty coal plants that were being proposed in Texas, and my environmental mentor, Tom Smitty Smith, is here in the audience with us today. But when I left office, I decided it would be a very good expenditure of time to go out and try to build the cleanest coal plant in the world. And so I've been working ever since I left office with a company out of Seattle, Washington, and we are a coal plant that's being developed in Odessa, Texas. But we capture 90% of our carbon dioxide, the greenhouse gases, off the project. And there isn't a coal plant in the world today that captures its carbon dioxide off the plant. So it's very, very significant. And one of the reasons we can afford to do that and also have enough pollution control equipment to make it very, very low mercury, sulfur, the lowest emitting project ever built in the state of Texas in terms of the contaminants. But the reason we can do that is because of the two guys I'm sitting in between, because we take the CO2 that we capture and we compress it and put it in a pipeline and we put it into depleted oil wells. And that CO2 goes down and makes the oil loosen up and come up with the CO2. So we are able to take really fallow wells that are no longer producing and bring up oil, and that's how we can afford to build a coal plant that is incredibly clean.
No question. Well, some people would say clean coal's an oxymoron. You would have said that in your earlier life, yes?
I would have.
But
now
not
I
now.
know better.
All right, I'm going to show you a couple of three graphics that will relate to this. So let's first of all look at graphic number 5, which shows us where this plant is. And so if everybody can see that red dot out there, that's very close to what town, Laura?
It's just outside Odessa, just west of Odessa.
Okay, if we can look at graphic number 6, there are some points that you typically make when you talk to people, so why don't you just run through those right quick?
Well, one of the most important things about our project, which is called the Texas Clean Energy Project, is that the Department of Energy is very excited about it and believes that this will be the cleanest coal plant in the world. So they have awarded us $450 million, which we haven't gotten yet. As we build the project, we'll be reimbursed up to $450 million. The project itself is between $2.5 billion and $3 billion, so a lot of private money is going into this project. We've also been lucky because we've gotten the support of some major environmental organizations in the country. NRDC, the Environmental Defense Fund, the Clean Air Task Force. They really, because carbon legislation has stalled in America, they really feel this is important to get these kinds of projects going.
Okay, so you put together a coalition of people who are sort of typically on the other side of this project. All right, one last thing, if we can look at graphic number 7, and that's the timeline. So where are you, where have you been, and where are you today, and where are you going with this timeline?
Well, we're lucky because the major engineering work finished this summer. We have been able to sell all of our products. We've sold not only the CO2 and the electricity, which we sold to the city of San Antonio, interestingly enough. We also make a lot of urea fertilizer. So that has also all been sold. We got our air permit without any opposition last December. And we also have an environmental impact statement. When you take federal money, you have to prove that you're not going to do anything adverse to the environment, and we were given that just about 2 months ago.
Okay, great. Now, before I get to Ed, I'm going to ask you this one last question. When we're going to talk about this on another program on renewables about a company called Solyndra. Last I checked, they got a little government money too. How do we know that you're going to safeguard the $400 million you're going to get?
Well, the big difference is that they took all the money and then they went back